Meeting is called to order. This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on the bulletin board of the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers a list of dates annually indicating that the work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, March 8, 2016. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Would we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Councilman Vassanella.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we gather here today as members of the Township Council of Franklin, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens in our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world and a better Franklin.
Amen.
Amen.
Madam Master Clerk, please call the roll.
Deputy Mayor Chase.
Here.
Councilwoman Francois.
Here.
Mayor Kramer.
Here.
Councilman Onijaka.
Here.
Councilman Prasad.
Here.
Councilwoman Robinson. Councilwoman Sherman. Councilman Vassanella.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Thank you. Next item is item 5, proclamations and commendations. There are agendas available next to the clerk. The first and only proclamation is designating March 2016 as Women's History Month. Councilwoman Francois is presenting.
Seeing that there's no one here to receive the proclamation, I'll just read it because it is significant that March is Women's History Month. In addition, today is our International Women's Day, and their theme is Pledge for Parity. So March 8th is also International Women's Day. So the proclamation reads, whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Whereas American women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. Whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the nation. Whereas American women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. Whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which create a more fair and just society for all of us. Whereas, despite these contributions, the role of American women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. Now, therefore, we, Councilwoman Kimberly Francois and our Mayor Philip Kramer, on behalf of our Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim the month of March as Women's History Month and urge the residents of Franklin Township to take this special opportunity to recognize and reflect on the progress made to advance women's equality and to take stock of the challenges facing women today and celebrate the gains made by women in our society. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Francois. Item number 6 is public discussion. Do we have a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on public discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed?
Did you open the meeting to the public?
Not in just a few seconds. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the meeting is now opened for public discussion, limited to 5 minutes, no giving of time to another person. You may come up once. There are other opportunities for the public to speak on specific ordinances and on the Hamilton Street budget, but this is open for any item related to government. Yes, sir.
All right, Benjamin Guy, 35 Patton Drive. I just got one question, well, 3 questions, really. One is the update on the Board of Ed joint meetings and how that actually is going. What's the status of that? Because I know that was one of the initiatives that we talked about at the beginning of the year, so I wanted to see whether or not, I know there was, that you did have one, and what the updates were and what the status was of the continuance meetings, because I know the Board of Ed is just releasing their budget probably this month. I think their March 22nd is when they're actually supposed to be doing their budget reviews. So if we're going to be doing a continuation to actually work together this year because of what past history was there, I wanted to see where exactly we were at with that. That was the one thing. Second thing is just because it's getting to spring and summertime, just because the kids are going to be a little bit more active, wasn't sure what was going on with like rec council, just like updates that were actually going on for the community so that the kids can have something else to do during the seasons. Those are little things that I guess for the town to stay a little bit more ahead of. Maybe we need to just announce a little bit more of what opportunities the town is actually highlighting so that the kids can do a little bit more during the summertime so that we have a little less instances out in the community at all. So that was another thing. And then the third thing is I know that we don't have this, but I have to ask the question anyway. Economic development plan of, I know that everybody's working on one here and there, but I want to hear actually from the ward council representatives exactly their needs, like why the ward council, or they might say them in private meetings, but from the citizen standpoint of needs in the specific areas, because private citizens or private businesses might want to help out with certain needs in the ward councils, but sometimes they don't know what exactly the needs of the town is, because usually it's like a joint partnership where the town is willing to partner with the county or the state or the town, but they don't know what the needs are. And sometimes they don't know who to go to. So sometimes with the ward representatives, if you guys sort of state what you need, the public will actually rise up, because there's a lot of opportunity for private citizens to actually fill the roles that government can't fill. So those are my main questions. And if you guys can comment, that's fine. If not, then I'll wait for a report later on. Thank you.
Hey, anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening. Alex Carrazzi, 14 Margaret Drive. I just wanted to thank Councilwoman Francois and our mayor and the council, men and women, for designating March 2006 as the Women's History Month. That's wonderful, really. But I hope down the road we'll make this just the Women's History Month for March for all the years rather than just this year. So I don't know if that's possible to just drop to 2016 and make it designated March as Women's History Month. So it can be, and then we can probably set a history, because I don't know other cities or townships or other places have such a month. But this will be a beautiful start, and maybe down the road the whole nation will designate March as Women's History Month. Thank you.
Mr. Karazi, did you want to, before you step up, did you want to talk about the interfaith? Yes.
All right. As most of you know, in Franklin Township, we have Franklin Township Interfaith Council. And basically, the main objective of that council is to bring people from different faiths so we can collectively work together, bring understanding among the people, and do good for the community. And under that, during the meeting that we had on March 1st, we proposed and agreed to form Franklin Township Clergy Council. And in Franklin Township, believe it or not, I was looking at the mailing addresses because we sent in a letter to them, and there's over 65 addresses of houses of worship. That's amazing. So imagine that every house of worship will have a representation, or maybe the clergy in this Franklin Township Clergy Council, and they can work together, address the issues that we have in township, and help in anything from drug recovery to issues that our township faces, and at times of emergency come together, collaborate so we can address the emergencies on a timely basis. So we are starting on that, and we're going to actually have our kickoff meeting of the Franklin Township Clergy Council on May 5th. That's the day of National Day of Prayers. So after the 12 o'clock event that we have, we're going to be having a luncheon meeting, and we hope to make this council a very effective in town. And I'm sure you are going to be hearing more. And again, we look forward to your support as well. But we are really excited about the formation of this new council. And down the road, we are hoping to form Franklin Township Interfaith Youth Council, because we have a lot of youth that they go to their house of worship, and they have great ideas how to bring the community together and how help the community. So I think we are going to try to form that youth council as well. Thank you very much.
One question, Mr. Perez. Where and when are you holding the National Day of Prayer?
The National Day of Prayer is going to be here in front of the municipal building at the Veterans Memorial, and that is going to follow with the luncheon meeting at the Masjid Ali Mosque.
What time?
Oh, it's going to be at 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
Yes. And we got the approval from Township Manager. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Karazi. And Mr. Karazi has been instrumental in that movement. Yes, sir.
Peter Dykes, 122 Van Sickle Boulevard, southbound Brook. I commute from southbound Brook down Canal, from Metlers down Canal Road to Princeton every weekday. And the traffic conditions on Canal Road are, to say the least, dangerous, not to be too far outside of the realm. It's deadly. There are cars that are not obeying the speed limits. The speed limit, if you're familiar with Canal, is 25 miles an hour. It goes up to 30, 35 miles an hour, and then as you're heading down to Princeton, it'll increase up to 40 to 45 miles an hour. But from basically Elmwell Road down to Blackwell's Mills, it's 25 miles an hour. There's no lane delineation at all. And every morning and every evening, it is hazardous. Folks, especially when it's snowing or raining, folks are not familiar with the road themselves. They're taking shortcuts to come off of South Middlebush or detours because of flooding, and they're unaware of the conditions on Canal, safe driving conditions, and they're coming over lanes. A perfect example is when they're coming down, I forget exactly where it is, by the sewer treatment plant. There's a sharp, if you're coming down up towards Blackwell's Mills, there's a huge, heavy right-hand turn. People aren't familiar with, there's no arrows pointing. That's a major right-hand turn or bend in the road. And people are coming across the lanes. There's been a number of accidents there. And quite frankly, I've had folks that have been texting and driving on that road, which you can't be any more insane to be doing that on any part of Canal. from basically Amwell down. Now, I understand, I've spoken to the traffic division a number of times, twice, and they've been very, very receptive to, obviously, enforcement of speed, of texting and driving, of tailgating, of all of those very, very hazardous driving conditions. And they're doing their best. I can see that. They're out there taking radar. They're pulling people over. But frankly, they are pulling people over, but they're being called to go down a little further down Canal because somebody just drove off the road because of one reason or the other. There are no guardrails on any part of northern part of Canal at all, which is just incredible. I understand that the Delaware Canal Commission can be quite, let's see, what's the word, obstructionist to any kind of, anything near the canal, you have to go and bend over backwards. I understand that. But guardrails are necessary, especially right next to the park as you're coming up to Blackwell's Mills. There is a huge drop-off. There's nothing there to protect a car from going off a 12 to 15-foot embankment. It's extremely dangerous. Personally, I don't want to become a casualty on that road. And there really is no other way. I try to obey the speed limit. I'm not saying I'm doing 25 miles an hour, but I am doing 30. And I'm also very experienced. I've been working down in Princeton for 6 years. I've taken that road for 6 years. I know it extremely well. So I know where the hazard spots are, but there's folks there that do not. And I think if the Township Council can, I guess that is your road, correct? That's Franklin Town, that
Yes.
Canal Road is yours.
Most of it.
Yeah, most of it. So I think you're going to have to dedicate some funds to getting some lane delineation from Blackwell's Mills up to Amwell Road. You're going to need to get some driver feedback signs to try to slow these people down. When I mean slow down, I mean they're doing 50 miles an hour on a 25-mile-an-hour road. It's insane, and there is no room for error. There's no margin for error on that road. So please do your best. I want to be able to come home to my family each night without having to stress out about coming to or from Princeton. And I'm sure you've all driven down Canal.
Mm-hmm.
So you understand
Once
the dynamics of, you live on Canal?
Yeah. 429 Canal, white fence on either side of the driveway, wave to me
Okay.
tomorrow morning.
Well, I'm driving the white Nissan Sentra, and I'm not going to be getting pulled over for speeding. I can tell you that right now. What's that? Oh, it's okay. But yeah, and the police departments are very good. Don't get me wrong. They're doing the best they can. It's such a difficult enforcement area because there's no place for them to take radar. There's one little spot that they can take radar, and that's, it's just, it's difficult for them to do their job. But we need a little bit more attention paid to that, and appreciate it. Thank you.
So I'll answer directly. If you can have a seat, I'll answer directly. And I appreciate the manner and the way you presented that. I appreciate your suggestions. There are limits to what we can do. I've actually offered my driveway to the police so that they could use it to do radar there. I'm going to let the manager, when I'm done, comment about things like striping, since he was still is a traffic expert and a road expert, so he will know the limitations there. There actually are guardrails, if you look, much to my chagrin, because I can't put my canoe in the water quite as easily, but there are some guardrails there. Before I hand it over to the manager, my wife drives it every day. She complains about the drivers there. It's a very difficult thing to enforce. One thing I would say, Canal Road was never meant to be a commuter road. You should, and everyone else should, cross the road either at Amwell or at Blackwell's Mills and use River Road, which was designed to be a commuter road. But I'll let the manager.
So I won't say that, but you can. And I certainly appreciate that position and agree with it wholeheartedly. The physical limitations of Canal Road are readily apparent if you drive the road. And there is this little thing called the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. It's a manual that is published by the federal government, and it is adopted as state law in the state of New Jersey, and we are obligated to follow it. And that manual dictates things like lane widths and what have you. Clearly, Canal Road in certain sections is not up to the current day standards as far as roadway width and those types of things. Lane markings are also something that is governed by the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. The roadway width in the section that you're specifically talking about, that section between East Millstone and Blackwell's Mills, is not sufficient in width to delineate with a lane. It is basically a one-lane road, and in physical limitations, we'll keep it a one-lane road forever. As long as there is a road there, it will be one lane, and it will be considered as one lane. Likewise, the section between what you're referring to as Saddam Road, and that's a water treatment plant, not a sewer treatment plant. North Brunswick wouldn't like to have it considered a sewer treatment plant. That's where they get their drinking water. That section, which has no center line, likewise the section between Saddam and Butler, until you get from the Butler to Bunker Hill section where there's a center line, is insufficient in width. And like you said, and one of the contributing factors to that is the DNR Canal Commission, which has control over the canal and the state park that is in which the canal is contained. There are environmental factors that limit the improvements to Canal Road. And like the mayor said, and this sometimes sounds harsh, you are not the intended user of Canal Road. He is, he lives there. You are someone who is using it as a shortcut, and as are, admittedly, most of the people who are on that road every morning and evening. The appropriate place for commuter traffic is the county network of roads, and that includes South Middlebush Road in our town and River Road in Hillsborough and Montgomery on their way into Princeton. If in fact all of the people who were utilizing Canal Road were the people who were utilizing it as a network of neighborhood road, the problems would probably be far less. I don't know what type of physical improvements could be done to Canal Road. I was the traffic sergeant in the police department beginning in 1999, so I have a little bit of history here. My career prior to being township manager was spent primarily for the last 15 years or so in that particular field. There's not much that can be done, and what we can do, we have done.
But what about some arrows at the big bend at the water?
And I will tell you that there is an arrow there. Southbound, there is an arrow at the bend going onto Saddam Road, so I'm not quite certain without sitting here and using Google Earth and looking to see, but I don't believe that there's...
Perhaps next time you're out there, maybe you could...
I certainly can, but like I said, my recollection is that there is an arrow there. So... And we can have Public Works put it back up. I mean, if it's recent. Yes, Councilman, or Deputy Mayor, I'm sorry.
Did anyone else want to comment? Another person who lives just off of Canal Road.
Yeah, I would just comment that I drive that direction quite often when I'm going anywhere northward, and I live on Old Georgetown Road. I go down Copper Mine Drive, a bit of Canal Road to the Griggstown Causeway, and at that point, I cross over and take River Road, for which you can go faster. It's engineered for faster traffic. It's much wider. It's much the preferable way to go. And if you're going southbound to Princeton, I would take it all the way to 206. I mean, I don't, because I live between 518 and Griggstown. And I go north, usually cut westward at Millstone, sometimes go all the way to Wilhowsky Street in Manville, and then cut back over to Western Canal Road, which again is a county road that is of sufficient size for such traffic. So I don't know why you would want to commute on that stretch of Canal Road, particularly the stretch between East Millstone and Blackwell's Mills, I avoid it for all the reasons that you've given. The only time I drive it is when I'm going to Mayor Kramer's house.
So,
so you've spoken, you can't
Oh,
come up
okay,
again.
I'm sorry. Well,
No,
I sort of,
No, you can't, sir, perhaps after the meeting you could come up and speak, but if I let you come back and speak, then I'd have to do that with everyone. That's the rules. And I can give you my card if you wish to call me.
you guys, as long as you're aware of it, but I think that frankly.
Okay, you can't, no, you're speaking, so, sorry. Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak public session?
seeing no one coming forward, Mayor, I motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Public session is closed. I see a number of people in the audience who are here for the Hamilton Street, or I presume are here about the Hamilton Street Special Improvement District budget. I would entertain a motion now to amend the agenda to move that forward.
I'll
So
make that
moved. So moved.
I'll make that motion to amend the schedule as the mayor suggested.
Seconded.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we have just amended the agenda to move the Hamilton Street Special Improvement District Budget Item 12 to immediately after public discussion and before council comments, which is now. So Resolution 16-118, read CY Hamilton Street Special Improvement District Budget by title is hereby presented for council for consideration. This is basically to save me reading the entire document. Please all vote yes. Do we have a motion for
moved.
this?
Seconded.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Deputy Mayor Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Thank you. The next item is the public hearing. Public hearing CY 2016 Hamilton Street Special Improvement District Budget as introduced. The meeting is, I'm asking for a motion to open the meeting for public discussion.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved in second. Any discussion on public discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? The meeting is open for public discussion regarding specifically the Hamilton Street Special Improvement District budget. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, what I'll do is I'll briefly go through the budget, and then our chairman, Pat, will come up and have some comments.
Excellent.
Mayor, just for the audience at home, Vince Dominic, and you are the executive director?
Correct. Yes, I'm Vince Dominic. One of my jobs is the executive director of the Hamilton Business District Advisory Board.
Thank you.
In December, the Hamilton Board unanimously recommended a budget of $132,728. And the most important part of the budget is that it recommends that no money be used for assessment. In other words, there won't be any tax or assessment made to anyone. They did that because we had enough money in surplus. There are 8 items, and I'll go through them very, very briefly. The first one is a stipend for me to help pay for the $10,000. The second is $1,000 for conferences if anyone on the board or staff wants to go to a conference to help educate it. We have $500 in legal and general administration, which is typical to publish the budget and other things. We have $20,000 in a landscaping tree study. That's a holdover from last year. They've started to work. We encumbered the money, but we did not expend any of it yet, so we held it over to this year, so it would be within this budget. We didn't have to charge it to last year's. We also have $50,000 in a marketing budget, which is meant for a myriad of different things. We have Kimberly can explain in detail because she's been attending all the marketing, but we have money that we want to put in. We originally were going to put some money to do a marketing study, but as council knows, you're amending your budget to put money in to do a town-wide study, so we'll probably reallocate that. We have an additional $15,000 if we want to upgrade or purchase additional security cameras. We purchased 8 last year. 4 of them are already up on the street. The other 4 should be up very shortly, depending on how well those go and how the police believe they've been allocated. We may want to buy a couple more so we could use them in hot spots. That'll be taken a look at during the course of the year. We have $6,228. A couple years ago, one of the churches gave money for emergency preparedness for some type of emergency to come up. We expended about $700, so that's a carryover. And we also have $30,000, a line item for the police that will be used for either equipment or if we want to help allocate for special events. Last year, we purchased the bicycles that they now have, and as soon as the weather gets a little bit better, and I believe, Bob, they said they were waiting for their uniforms to come in too.
Yeah.
As soon as they come in for that, they'll be able to use those.
Be able to hit their stride.
So that's a very quick synopsis of the budget. And if you have any questions, I can answer. If not, the chairman, Pat Gianotto, would like to come up and say a few brief words.
It is a flat budget.
Excuse me?
In terms of taxation, it's a flat budget.
No,
There is no assessment.
Right.
There's no money that's going to be taxed on the individuals who own property in the Hamilton the city.
So no impact on tax.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mayor?
Yeah, Councilman Besson.
Councilman Prasad, I just want to be clear. There is an impact. There's 0 taxes for the commercial property owners on Hamilton Street as the additional assessment for this year. Doesn't mean it's going to be that way next year and following years, but it actually
We're talking this year.
there is a change. It's seldom, but it's tax reduction, actually. So it's a good thing. Is that the proper way to explain it?
Yes.
And so I can't help myself sometimes. Just for technical
noticed.
purposes only, this is not a tax, and we should not refer to it as a tax. It is an assessment. It is a special improvement district assessment. It's a special assessment on commercial properties within the special improvement district. And there is no assessment being placed upon the commercial properties on Hamilton Street for the calendar year 2016. So I want that because it's important that we know that we just don't have the ability as a governing body to pick and choose when we apply taxes, because we don't. But we can pick and choose when we apply special assessments. So, thank
Anyone
you.
else wish to speak? I'll just say one thing, maybe 2. So as I understand it, this leaves about $4,000 in the piggy bank if everything.
I believe that's what
was-
Bob said.
Right. And to quote an earlier Bush, if it looks like a tax, but Mr. Gianotto, perhaps you'd like to come up.
And finish that?
Just don't say anything about reading my lips.
So,
I will not.
Good.
so I'll just replace the word tax by assessment. Whatever it is, it's a good thing for the commercial property owners on Hamilton Street. They'll have more money in their pocket at the end of the year as far as money they must pay to government. Call it what you want. I'm happy, and I hope they're happy.
Mr. Gianotto.
Pat Gianotto, Chairman of the Hamilton Street Advisory Board. A 0 assessment sounds good, absolutely. It's got to sound good to anybody, no matter what it is. I like Bob's philosophy on this. It makes sense because the money that is assessed is used for our district, okay? It's not used for anything else, and we basically recommend what it's spent on. So, and I think the reorganized board is doing an excellent job. I want to thank the council also, because you guys are a lot more involved than ever before, and we're getting results. They're slow, but they're results, and that's a good thing. You can't ask for anything more than that. I would like to comment on the 2 neighborhood police officers. We're getting nothing but praise back about these guys. They're doing a fantastic job. They're there. You really, until you talk to these 2 guys, you don't realize how much they care. You know, it's not just a job to them, I don't think. They really are going, we appreciate being down here, we want to help, and we want to clean it up. And it's great. It is fantastic. But you know me. You know me. I feel like my name is Bob for some reason. I got to just keep spitting things out. We need more boots on the ground, and I'm never going to stop that until I can walk down Hamilton Street and my kids can walk down Hamilton Street and their girlfriends, and people are going to feel safe. We've got a lot of things going on building-wise that are coming in. There's 3 major projects that are coming in. It's fantastic. It's what we were looking for. It's like a big kickoff. This is going to be very exciting within the next 2 years. But we got to. The whole goal is to bring people down there. We're getting the buildings. We're getting the residential. We're getting the retail stores coming in. We got to keep it safe. Number 1 goal. If you don't keep it safe and make it safe, it's not going to work. So everybody's got to do their part, and I think it's working very well. Everybody's got a good attitude towards everything, and thank you very much.
Any council questions for Mr. Gino?
Okay, I'll do it.
I have one question. So when these new buildings come in, will that provide you with more money in your assessment? I mean, obviously, that depends on how you...
It all depends on what our needs are, okay? Let's look at, this is not, we're not going, hey, wow, that's more of a assessment base. I won't say tax base, all right? Just because these are going to be big dollar projects. I mean, these people are spending a lot of money down there. We're not looking at, oh, wow, that's more dollars for us to spend. We're looking at what do we need, what's necessary. That's what we're looking. We're not looking to assess anything that's not necessary. And hopefully, when these projects, these are people I think that are building them that are going to be here. They're not building them and selling them and they're off. They're going to be involved in our town, and we'll get them working with our board.
But with these buildings coming in, let's say you were looking for a budget to be the same, that would actually take some pressure off the other businesses that...
Correct.
Phil, what that does is that those properties will, instead of being assessed at $5, will now be assessed at $40.
Right.
So whatever we're raising, those properties that have been improved will pay a greater share because of their assessed value.
Right.
The budget's not going to change. I don't think
Right,
this
no,
board
I-
has anything to say,
But-
well, now we have a great value, we want to get more. That's not the intent. They'll
But
just pay.
I think the
greater
mayor's point is the valid one, which is it helps because it takes some of the burden off the existing property owners because it has increased the assessment value of the small.
Exactly.
Right.
Councilman Chase.
When these mixed-use buildings come in, will they be assessed for Hamilton Street Special Improvement District purposes on the whole value of the building or just the commercial first floor of the building?
It's on the whole value, Deputy Mayor, because they're commercial properties. The
Right,
rental
they're
units are
rental
still
properties,
considered a
correct.
commercial property.
And I
It's
think-
not a residence.
I think if it's over 4 units, it's considered a
commercial
commercial
property.
property.
Councilman Vasanella.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just want to throw out, the mayor brought up a good question or comment about the taxes, and you explained it right.
Assessment.
Assessment, sorry, the assessment. I'm fine with assessment. Everybody says taxes, so I react that way. But we're talking about, knock on wood, these projects next couple of years get done, 1, 2, 3, whatever, but the ones that are approved and pending approval, we're talking about tens of millions of dollars of rateable, well, property values and then the rateable, whatever the tax rate is. Now, I'm not saying the town shouldn't, couldn't, or it's an excuse why they haven't in the past, but when that kind of income comes into our tax base, we may be in a little bit better position, our Financial Oversight Committee here, to look at how some tax revenue, depending on other economic factors in that year, could be invested back into Hamilton Street, because the SID, whatever you want to call it, the group here, the advisory board, does the assessment. They should invest with the projects they pick and choose upon council's approval. But the more money the council gets in ratables, like any town, the more they can invest back in. So thank God for little mom and pop shops, and they always need to be part of the fabric of Hamilton Street and make sure they don't get left out. But these projects are monumental as far as ratables and revenue for the town. So there's a flip side of that outside the assessment, Mayor, that I'm hoping in the next few years shows a second layer of improvements and investment in the Hamilton corridor. So I don't know if you agree or explain that properly, but I don't want that to be overlooked either about these monumental projects.
Any other council member? Councilman Prasad.
Just one comment, and that is to compliment you on the rezoning and the multi-use. What it has done is that developers, builders have all looked at it, and some of them were even complaining to me that the price and value of the property there has skyrocketed. So that's a good thing to have happen, and people are investing. So great job, guys. I think it's the right track, and we should stay the course. Thanks.
Any other council member? Seeing none, anyone else from the public? Do we have a motion to close the public?
Motion to close the public portion of this
Seconded.
hearing.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor of closing the public session?
Aye.
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 Opposed? If motion passes, the public session is closed. So now it's time to pass the budget resolution. Resolution 16-119, adopt calendar year 2016 Hamilton Street Special Improvement District budget as introduced, is hereby presented to the Township Council for consideration.
Motion for introduction.
Second that motion.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Deputy Mayor Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
We are now back on course, going back to item number 7, council comments and standing committee reports. I'll start down here with Councilman Only Jaka.
Yes, I was privileged to attend some of the commissions and boards, and I have some of them that I noted that were very, very useful. One of them is, thank you, the East Millstone Historical Society. I was there, that was last Sunday, with the mayor, and it was very, very informative. They told us the history of Millstone, the importance, and the development at this time, and it was very, very. In fact, they served us beverages, coffee, and it was nice, and I enjoyed it. So the actual aim and the significance of that society is just to promote diversity and at the same time educate members on the Millstone history. That is one. The second one I attended was the Canal Feast. I was privileged again to have the mayor on the board. The canal phase was nice, and the aim of the society is just to raise funds to help in supporting the food bank. And they pointed out that in October, this coming October, the feast will come up. And this time around, they want to encourage diversity. They want to encourage diversity and other things. And the sales of items, including draft beer. They thought about it too. So I will leave that alone for now. Another one I attended was the Franklin Sewage Authority. I attended the Sewage Authority. It was great. They have an engineering company, a consulting company. And they presented Mile Running Phase 2 project. And the project was awarded to Cardboard Construction Company in Hillsborough. The authorization of the award of the project was submitted to NJDEP on January 26, 2016. They said the contract will start, the contract has been awarded, and the contract will start up on March 28. And they are trying to figure it out in such a way that it's not going to be a problem to the residents while the construction is going on. So they told me that they will try to work it out with the township manager and the mayor to make sure that everything is fine within this, having no traffic congestion, and everything will be okay. And the last meeting I attended was the Cable Television Advisory Committee. They are working on a page, on a website, so as to inform the public what is going on within the cable companies, the Verizon and the Comcast. They also said that the website will educate the public and will direct them to the appropriate quarters if they have any problems. And I think that's it. And one more thing. Within the Cable Television Advisory Committee, they pointed out that the fees received from the franchise agreement, that they received a lot of money on 2015, 2016, no, 2015, 2014, and so on. In 2015, they received $54,198.3 from Comcast, and they received almost the same amount of money, which is $166,000 from Verizon, which means they are doing well. Okay, I think that is what I have here.
Thank you, Councilman Only-Jaka, Councilwoman and former Deputy Mayor, since we never mentioned it before, Kimberly Francois.
That's right. Once a deputy mayor, always a deputy mayor.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's a mayor.
Once a mayor,
Once a
always a
mayor.
mayor.
It's always a mayor.
Mayor likes that one.
Once a soldier is always a soldier.
Exactly. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Hamilton Street. I didn't want to interject while we had the public discussion session, but we did meet last night, and I sit on the marketing subcommittee, and we spent a lot of time brainstorming about what did we want to be, what did we envision Hamilton Street to look like. And it was brought to our attention that we're doing an economic development study, a very strategic economic development study in which we are including Hamilton Street Business District in addition to the corporate business zone. And that market analysis will be done within that study. We're putting our money where our mouth is. This council has decided that we're going to put $100,000 in this budget to, we're drafting currently up a RFP to solicit a consultant to come in and help us decide how best to market and strategize our businesses. We have a lot of vacancies in the CB zone. We're doing a lot on the Hamilton Street side, but we still need some professional advice. So there are a lot of good things going on in Hamilton Street right now, and some of the recommendations that came out of the marketing subcommittee, we said we can certainly clean up what's out there now. We're putting in public safety measures with the community police. We're putting up cameras. We're doing major cleanup. We're putting in sidewalks. We're doing landscaping. We've already put up nice street lights, and we're also talking about during the holidays, putting up holiday decorations. We want to have a 4th of July parade. We're talking about doing some trunk or treat and Halloween parades, so we can really start drawing people into the area as well. We also talked about seeking additional grant funding and doing little things like bringing back the auto showcases, having a Hamilton Street calendar, having a Hamilton Street placemat showcasing all of our businesses. We talked about sprucing up our website, and we're going to continue to, or begin to continue to partner with the Chamber of Commerce. That's something that we definitely feel that we need to do right away. And there was just a soul food restaurant that opened up on Hamilton Street, and we talked about there really is a need for the advisory board to begin to spearhead ribbon cuttings so that we let people know what's going on in the area. So there's a lot that's happening on Hamilton Street. We talked about putting up no loitering signs in some of the shopping centers, and we're going to fix the signs that say you're entering into the Hamilton Street Business District. We also want to rename Matilda Avenue as an honorary Walton Young Avenue and have a tribute ceremony during the Week of the People. In terms of the marketing study, the economic development study, and the initiatives that the marketing group is doing for Hamilton Street, there's a lot going on, and we're very, very proud that we do have the community policing initiative there and that it's working very well. Wanted to say one more thing about economic development. I attended the destination marketing meeting on March 3rd, and we had IMG there. IMG has the multimedia rights for Rutgers Athletics, and they distributed over 10,000 brochures last year. They have visiting teams that receive over 3,000 tickets to come to Rutgers games, and we also have visiting fans of about 5,000 to 6,000 people to come and purchase tickets from all over the United States for their athletic sales. And so we talked about how can Franklin tap into that market, that sales market, with all the different sports activities. So we discussed working with IMG to put together a quote so that we could put an ad in their brochure and have a cooperative advertising project with the state, county, and local hotels. That ad would highlight the area, it would list the hotels and the restaurants, and there are 24 sports programs that run between September and May. So that's something that's very important to our local hotels. They need to increase their occupancy rate, which brings in ratables to Franklin as well. And we also had a group from the hub called Media Rebels at that destination marketing meeting, which is a marketing communications agency. And their business is focused on branding and marketing using technology. So they're developing an app for tourists, and their primary goal of that app is hits and bids. And the site will serve as the concierge drawing in business into our market here. So we also are trying to partner with that group as well to increase and enhance our destination marketing here in Franklin Township. So there's a lot going on with economic development strategies. And here in Franklin, we've heard a lot about what's going on Hamilton Street. We're trying to energize the occupancy of our hotels and bring more people into Franklin, get more people to come here, stay here, shop here, work here, and that all results in ratables and economic development. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Francois. Councilman Vasanel.
Thank you, Mayor. Now, was there a handful of meetings, one of them in the last few weeks, one of them being the Emergency Management Council Committee. I don't have it was just very recent, don't have notes or minutes yet that were put out officially for the meeting, but in general, we are doing very well, and I feel very comfortable with our resources if and when there's an emergency that requires their intervention in our town. And I will bring forward details when the minutes and notes are provided. Hamilton Street, a lot's been talked about here, so I won't say much, but I will reiterate some, like Chairman Giannato said, that everything we're doing is wonderful, but people need to feel safe, and we're making strides, and that hopefully will be a parallel effort along with our other efforts in economic development. And that will lead into my comments to the gentleman who was asking about our economic development in wards. Well, there's more to the Fifth Ward than Hamilton Street, but that is obviously a big part of the ward and ripe with economic development opportunities. Easton Avenue is also another big portion of that. The rest of the Fifth Ward is mainly residential. So without going into a lot of detail, my understanding from my experience in talking to residents and business owners is the economic development needs to take in consideration businesses that serve the needs of the local residents. It's great to have bigger businesses or coffee shops attracting people from other towns and coming in after work and everything else, but we need to also keep businesses that are here and bring in others that provide needed services to the local residents, whether it's the Hamilton corridor or the Easton Avenue corridor. The other thing is whether good or bad economic times, we have properties that, whether they're vacant, whether they're foreclosed, whether they're between tenants, that need our focus, our attention, sometimes on Easton and definitely on Hamilton. Right now, I'm just speaking about the Fifth Ward since it was asked about the ward. So that's been relayed to me, and I see that as a concern, or I should say, a need to be a priority in our economic development efforts. The one other thing I'm going to mention, and I'm just throwing out the priorities that for years have always been mentioned and talked about. Transportation. If you have this stuff, these businesses, cultural centers, community centers, I know we're looking at the drop-in center, all these wonderful things. If you don't have access, they're of little value. We had a few years back, I was part of the effort with Pat, I don't know if Pat was on the board, but the Hamilton board, we got additional bus stops. The county was great. We worked with the county, our staff, I think Vince was involved. We got additional bus stops. So just use that as an example. So we need, as part of any efforts and studies, to go into the access, okay, because that is key. Even for people who can drive, the less vehicle traffic, the better, and other people cannot get there. So I'm just putting those out there. I'll discuss with you or down the road when we talk economic development more. But for the Fifth Ward, which I represent, those are three key concerns. So anyway, but quickly thank you to Alex Karazi, who is leading that effort, as talked about before. Central Jersey Housing Resource Center, not a lot to report. They handle our affordable housing needs. Was at a meeting for them on the board. We're doing very good in town. There's seminars that they hold for people looking to rent, buy homes, general financial, how to handle finances and debt and whatnot. Those seminars, a lot of them geared towards Franklin or open to Franklin residents. We put it on our website, I believe, and advertise it. I suggest people take a look at it. There may be more there than people realize. They want to, yeah, and most of them are free or very, very little cost. Can't say too much more about Canal. The manager and the mayor covered it, but we did get, I think we're getting in our budget, assuming it proves some of these blinking lights that show the speed limit. I don't know if we're even allowed to put them on Canal, but
they'll be out there.
Okay, they will.
And we already have some. In fact, there's two of them on South Middlebush Road right now in the Middlebush Village. I don't know where the rest are. They don't they're making their rounds through town.
That's great, and I think we may have upwards of 10 coming in. They're not,
Actually, yeah, that's the number. We purchased 5 and we're buying 5
Five more.
more, and so we'll have 10.
and not saying it's going to solve the problem, but my research and comments that I get from people show me that it is a helpful deterrent. It's something that we can easily do to help that situation. And so I'll bring the more information on the Emergency Management Council at our next meeting. April is Housing Month, so there may be a proclamation or other mention of that in upcoming meetings in April. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Vasanella. Councilman Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. He's deputy.
Councilman Chase is deputy mayor, and he goes second to last.
Okay, so the Human Relations Commission has already been reported on, and my other colleagues on the other boards, like admin, land use, et cetera, will be reporting on their own, on the boards. HRC, we had Councilwoman Chanel Robinson there last time, and at the next meeting, I believe Councilwoman Francois is going to be there. And the Youth Empowerment Group did a food bank canned goods donation drive, and they raised substantial amount of food that they're going to go donate to the food bank. So it was a huge success, and it's teaching kids how to care for their neighbors. And it's a tutoring and mentoring program for kids, and it's growing with graduates actually starting their own mentoring groups. So it's a good thing happening. The Rutgers medical students also want to set up a free clinic in Franklin Township in the underserved areas in collaboration with the 2 area hospitals. Now to Mr. Guy's 3 points. BOE is not something that I'm involved in, so that's something somebody else can refer to and respond to. Recreation for kids, it is something that we have worked on very hard over the years, and we continue to work on it. The Williams Pool, we're trying to make it as easy and affordable. In fact, the Human Relations Commission was there in the Naaman Williams Parkside Community Center, helping people enroll their kids into the pool. And the recreation has been, providing a lot of activities for the kids. And speaking of that, we're trying to also make them affordable for everybody. So that's something that we're actually subsidizing if needed to be able to do that. There's also youth summer employment, part-time jobs with maintenance, et cetera, that we're trying to do with Public Works. And of course, Councilman Vasanella was a little, didn't take credit for work he's already doing on Arlington Park, and that is, again, going to be a neighborhood park. The Little League that he's been supporting so that our kids have activities. And Castleton Park has had upgrades, and it's in his backyard, so he constantly watches over it. And, I represent the whole town, so I look at it from a more township-wide perspective, but we have needs, especially in the recreation area, and trying to get everybody involved in some form of activity. So, there are things that are not used, and maybe we should try and do things to help encourage them. And we'll try to figure creative ways of encouraging the game and providing the resources to let that happen. Now to Mr. Karazi, just wanted to thank you for your interfaith activity and all the work you're doing. And Councilman Vasanella already stole my point on the flashing sign. Believe me, it is effective. And when they had it on Winston Road, I, for one, who have a lead foot, did slow down. So it does work. And so I would recommend that we try that at Canal Road as well. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Prasad. Councilman Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Oscar winner, Councilman
We
Wright.
have a couple of reports to,
Oscar winner, Councilman Wright.
I'm sorry?
Oscar winner.
Oscar winner.
You were the Academy Award Oscar winner.
Well, you left it in the office. I thought you were going to bring it out.
I was going to, I forgot.
Yeah.
Get it now.
Yeah, you forgot it now, you know? Next meeting.
Yes.
Just a couple of meetings that we have to bring up to speed. One, the Housing Authority will meet later this month, so I have nothing to report on that. The Redevelopment Agency, which I share with Councilwoman, Deputy Mayor, Mayor Francois, we had no meeting last week. And Public Works, I believe, is coming up. Okay, so hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have something to report on that. Moving on to, yes, you guessed it, Hamilton Street. There are 3 projects in the process on Hamilton Street to help revitalize the area. There are all 1 and 2 bedrooms, and that helps the Board of Education because it limits the amount of people, the amount of children you can have in the apartment. So again, that helps the Board of Education in their planning. What this commercial operation is basically is commercial on the first floor, all around the first floor, and the second, third, and fourth floor are all apartments. To that point, the recon development has been approved, and they're ready to put a shovel in the ground. 745 Hamilton Street and 695 Hamilton Street, they're both at the planning board now waiting their final approval. Let's see. At our last meeting, we had a reorganization, and I'm going to skip between the two, for the Hamilton Board. And Pat Giannato, who was just here, was elected again chairman of the board. I think someone mentioned the cameras on Hamilton Street. That is up and running. We have a couple of issues, but Vince Dominic, our executive director, said that those problems would be ironed out soon, so the cameras will be up as a test project soon, and we hope to have them up and running. The sidewalks.
Councilman, the cameras are up and running. There are 4 cameras that are currently functioning, and the police department has the ability to monitor those cameras.
Done deal. I love the township manager. The community block grants for sidewalks was a project that would not fix the whole block, but fix certain areas where the sidewalks need to be upgraded as they were on Hamilton Street. And I think that was for $29,000?
Sounds right.
That's correct.
Okay. So that's in the works, and that's, again, has to be reviewed by an engineering department. Ms. Francois, Councilwoman at Large, Deputy Mayor, went through the marketing report, so that part is done, and she's smiling over there, so I know she loves that one. I'm going to go through the, if I can get this thing open. It's hard to do this. I have to do it with my touch finger now. Which will be the land use report. Okay. At that meeting, Councilman Prasad, Councilman Chase, Councilman Vasanella, yours truly by telephone, our township manager, Robert Vornlacher, and Mark Healy, who's the Director of Planning and Zoning. A couple of things came up which were easily solved, thanks to our township manager. And one of them was the vacation of a paper street behind the firehouse building. It served no purpose, and the reason and the township had no reason to improve it. So we had no problem with that issue moving forward. But I had one little question before I go forward. That was the Elizabeth House fire, the Elizabeth Avenue firehouse. And I wanted to find out if our township manager would care to say something about that.
About the street vacation?
Yeah.
It's a street
right there.
that the Elizabeth Avenue Fire Company owns the property on both sides of the paper street. It comprises the area behind their firehouse, and it makes absolutely no sense not to vacate the street. The property will be absorbed by the firehouse. It's already basically part of their parking lot now.
So with that, another street vacation would have been Tuxedo Lane and the Kevin Apuzzo Avenue north of Ray Street. They're all vacation of properties.
They're all just paper streets that
Now, the only one that
no functional purpose to the township.
The only one I wanted to bring up was Tuxedo Lane, and that was the landlocked parcels of property. So if you would just explain that.
There's a section of Tuxedo Lane of the paper street that runs between Easton Avenue and First Street. The section that we're looking to vacate is the section off of Easton Avenue. It'll never be an intersecting street on Easton Avenue. Should the need for the street to be developed off of First Street, that certainly is a possibility because there are potential building lots on that section. That section would not be vacated, just the one section along the two lots that front Easton Avenue. The section in between that is Tuxedo Lane would be vacated.
Thank you. And two of our last updates, and I think Mr. Chase would give that during his deputy mayor's report, or did he want to do it now with the Rita? You want to do it during the deputy mayor?
Well, it's just that our Director of Planning, Mark Healy, reported on the master plan re-examination. This is this is something that had to be done by this month, but it's really just looking back at the master plan we passed 10 years ago, seeing what have we accomplished that we set out to accomplish in it, and most of the items in it, and what new items have come up that we ought to address. And in the course of the next year, he's going to prepare, he and the planning board are going to prepare a real new master plan with some new directions for the township. But obviously, the results of the economic development study that we're about to undertake will feed into that, the new master plan.
Thank you. And one of our last things up, the committee discussed the appropriate nature, township funding, for example, of improvements of the general public, such as improvements for the general public, such as stands, equipment building, and bathroom facilities that could possibly be funded by us, whereas for the Little League, such as concession stands, could not. Now, that's basically using our public funds, what could we do with them at the Little League Park? And the committee, along with thought from our township manager, I guess, who talked to our township attorney, as to what facilities we could and couldn't upgrade. We still have a little bit more to do on that little project, so at the next meeting, the next council meeting, I hope to have a further update. And the last little thing that our township municipal clerk dropped on my desk is the reappointment to the rent leveling board. And we have our first meeting on March the 14th, 2016, here at 7 p.m. in the large conference room here at the municipal building. That, Mr. Mayor, is it. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry. Vince Dominic was here, and I forgot to mention that he's our executive director, so I just want to throw that in there. And Councilman Vesanella is on the committee, too. And Thank you.
Chance already said.
Thank you, Councilman Wright. Deputy Mayor Chase.
Okay, several things in answer to the question earlier about
Make it up.
economic development. What we're about to do is issue a request for proposals from consultants to give us some ideas about what we might do for the corporate business zone centered around Davidson Avenue, and also for Hamilton Street. As you've heard abundantly, there's a lot of things going on already on Hamilton Street, a lot of ideas, but since we really set in motion this proposal for a study for Davidson Avenue, but we might as well see if we can get any new ideas from outside for Hamilton Street to further stimulate economic activity there. We need a study for Davidson Avenue because some of the office buildings there have a high vacancy rate. This is a general, indeed national, trend towards decrease in suburban use of suburban office buildings as more people telecommute, work from home to do their work. But so we may want to do some other things in that zone to get better utilization of the buildings there, and therefore better tax payments, and therefore less pressure on the residents of the township to pay taxes. But that's what we're working on. March 15th is National Agriculture Day, and the Agricultural Advisory Committee has been working on an idea which I hope will be in place by March 15th, to have on the township website a directory of farm stands where our farmers sell retail to the public what they produce on their properties. You know, not all of them is everything they sell produce on their properties, but at least 50% should be. And Christmas tree sales, plant nurseries, in general, to make better known to the public the production of the agricultural sector in Franklin Township so that we can maintain farming here. The Environmental Commission met last night, and one thing that they decided on was to have the annual stream cleanup on April 16th this year in the afternoon, because we do this in cooperation with Stony Brook Millstone Watershed Association, and I think they'd already had all their mornings taken, so we had the afternoon. But we'll do it along Weston Canal Road and Weston Road and the paralleling canal towpath on either side of Weston Causeway that heads off towards Manville. There's the parking lot there within the loop that Weston Canal Road makes to turn onto Weston Causeway. So I invite those who can to come there on April 16th in the afternoon to help clean up along the canal there. And I think that's everything I had, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Chase. Councilman Vasanella wishes to add one more thing.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry I forgot. This is just a traffic bulletin concerning Easton Avenue. There's intersection improvements that will be going on beginning Monday, March 14th. Road work will begin to replace traffic signals, reconstruct sidewalks, and modify to center mediums at two signalized intersections, those being Easton Avenue, also that's known as County Road 527, and East Avenue and Willow Road intersection, and the Easton Avenue, well, it's a jug handle shopping center, the one near Planet Fitness, and I only mentioned that's what's in the press release. Not trying to promote them, but that intersection there and the intersection of Willow Road. So expect traffic lanes will be maintained, but will be shifted around work zone areas from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. approximately, Monday through Friday. Work's expected to last 4 months. This is the big one. Expect possible delays in the areas of road work. Just throwing it out there. These are great needed improvements that come from the East Avenue Corridor study, I believe originally from a few years ago. Be conscious of the traffic delays. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Vasanella. Of Mr. Guy's questions, the only thing that hasn't been covered is the Board of Ed. After our joint meeting, I went through a detailed list of what was discussed. I don't have the notes with me. I won't reiterate them, but I will say that today, the president of the Board of Ed, Mr. Potasnik, and I had a discussion, and we will be reconvening the joint committee so that we can go over what has been done and what else needs to be done. So we'll soon be scheduling that. The only other thing I'd like to announce is the Franklin Township Cultural Arts Committee is having a community visioning event tomorrow night, which is Wednesday night at March 9th from 7 to 9 p.m. All council members and all members of the public as well are invited. It's at the Senior Center. Its point is to come up with direction for the committee, the Cultural Arts Committee, Cultural Arts Council, so they can direct themselves over the next year. Pizza and refreshments will be served, and I will be there, and I hope other members of the public will be there.
I will be there.
There you go. All of Canal Road from the north to south end will be represented. And that concludes my comments. Township Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd just like to clarify some of the comments from Councilman Wright earlier, and perhaps I can get a polling of council on an issue that was brought up at the Land Use Committee. What Councilman Wright referred to was a request from the Franklin Township Youth Baseball Organization for financial assistance from the township in the construction of a public bathroom facility and a storage facility. There was a request for additional help for other facilities at the facility on DeKalb Street. However, that is what Councilman Wright was referring to, that there was consultation with the township attorney regarding the legality of public funds for that type of facility. So the Little League, as it's commonly referred to, the Little League property is owned by the Township of Franklin, and it is on our recreational open space inventory, and therefore, as such, certain improvements to that property would be proper to utilize open space trust funds to make those types of improvements. It is property that we own, and it is on our recreational open space inventory. And then there are other improvements that it would not be appropriate. And that's where the discussion in land use went. And that discussion was, well, what will it cost? And, you know, as we all know, our standing committees are not quorums and certainly don't have the ability to direct the manager in one way or another. So the discussion was that we would discuss that tonight at the committee report. And if council does want me to go out and seek quotes on the improvements that were requested by the Little League, that it would be appropriate for the township to to participate in, then I will certainly go out and get those cost estimates, if so directed. So as I look to my left now, I look for nodding heads in a majority that would so direct me to get those cost estimates.
These are estimates, not spent.
Just, this is just a very, very preliminary groundwork to see how much it would actually cost to do the improvements that have been requested by the Little League. So, and I am seeing 7 of you, and at least 5 of you are nodding your heads up and down, so I will take that as direction. Thank you very much, Council. Then just furthering my report, I too attend committee reports, and I am on the advisory board for the Franklin Food Bank, and my meeting was this morning at 8:30, and some of the things that we discussed were 2 upcoming fundraisers for the Franklin Food Bank. One is to be held on April 2nd at Saddam Farms on Skillman's Lane. It is called Going for the Green Craft Beer and Music Festival. It's to be held from noon to 5 p.m. If you visit the Franklin Township Food Bank website at franklinfoodbank.org, you'll find that tickets can be purchased online through the website, and I encourage anyone that has that open on Saturday to attend that event. It was a lot of fun last year. Unfortunately, I have another event that I'll be at, and it'll be in Manchester, England that day, so I won't be there this year. But it was a lot of fun, and I encourage everyone to go. It's a nice fundraiser at the Saddam Farms Greenhouse. It's a nice venue, and there's good music and good food, and that is one of the events. And the other event is for those of you who bicycle or walk or have any type of exercise. Let me bring up the date. I believe it's April 27th is the, wrong page here. April 24th, I'm sorry, Sunday, April 24th, it is the 27th annual Tour de Franklin. This year, the Tour de Franklin will begin at Franklin High School, and there are a number of events. There's a metric century ride. For those of you who don't know what that means, it's 100 kilometers, and that's the main ride. There's also a 40-mile ride of Franklin, and those events cover all of the villages of Franklin Township. There's a 25-mile ride, a 10-mile ride, a 1.5-mile walk or ride, and there are also events on the DNR Canal towpath. The event is the primary fundraiser for the food bank annually, and it has raised tens of thousands of dollars over those 27 years to help feed the hungry here in Franklin Township. One other thing to mention about the food bank, for many, many years since the food bank was founded, it has been referred to as the Franklin Township Food Bank, and oftentimes people confuse the Franklin Township Food Bank with a government function. It is not a government function. It is a nonprofit organization. It is not funded by the Township of Franklin or taxpayer money. Those donations that you make to the Franklin Food Bank are not being made to the government, but to an organization that does a great deal of work for our functioning poor, our hungry here in Franklin Township. And as such, what you will maybe begin to notice in the future now is that the name has been changed. It is no longer the Franklin Township Food Bank, it is the Franklin Food Bank, to try to make it a little more clear that this is not a government function. So that is what I have to report from the advisory board meeting of this morning, and that is what I have to report as the township manager at this council meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Actually, I have 2 more items. Canal Road Walk and Roll will be May 15th. That's where we shut down the road to all but local traffic from 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 p.m. It's an opportunity to walk or bike or roller skate on Canal Road. This is I think our 4th year doing this. It's been well attended, and I invite people to come. No cars, no traffic, no noise. The other item I missed was that the E&J case, which is best known as the digital billboard case, went before the New Jersey Supreme Court this past week. or actually last week, and our able township attorney, in my humble opinion, did an excellent job there. If you go to the Supreme Court website, you can watch a video of it. I think it would be improper for me to predict an outcome, but I do believe the attorney represented us quite well. And hopefully by midsummer anyway, we will have a final result on that. And then my last item is my perpetual weather report from the council chambers, and the temperature is ideal this time. Thank you.
I'm so happy that you're pleased, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, finally, moving on to the actual township meeting. Council discussion items tonight, mercifully, there are none. Next item is item 10, approval of the minutes. The following minutes are hereby presented for approval by the Township Council. Township Council budget hearing February 16th, 2006 at 7 p.m. Work session, regular meeting February 23rd, 2006 at 7 p.m. And executive session February 23rd, 2016. All of those Township Council meetings. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Certainly.
Councilman Oni Jaka.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Next item is approval of the warrants. Warrants in the amount of $4,294,229.85 on March 8th, 2016 are presented to the Township Council for payment. These are the bills that the township pays. Do we have a
I
motion?
move that,
Motion for payment.
And a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Item 12, we have already done. Moving on to item 13, public hearing and adoption of ordinances on second readings. The way ordinances work is they are presented on first reading, which is essentially to introduce them to the public, to let them know something is coming up, and then the actual passage comes no sooner than at least 2 weeks later. And it is now time for those hearings and a public discussion and passage or not passage on the ordinances. The first ordinance is 413516, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, and State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 180, fees, with the addition of Article 10, senior and community center rental fees. The Township Attorney has approved an affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. In short, this is an ordinance to slightly raise the fees to rent our senior center to be more in line with other communities around us. So we need to have a public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Motion for public hearing.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any prior discussion? Seeing none. All in favor of opening for public discussion on this item?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. We are now open for public discussion on this item only, with only the Franklin reporter in audience.
Seeing no one come forward, Mayor, I motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Second.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion. All in favor of closing public discussion?
Aye.
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 Public discussion is closed on this item. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Deputy Mayor Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
The ordinance passes. Ordinance number 4136-16, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, Somerset, New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 109, Charitable Clothing Bins, Section 109-2, permit required. Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. This is essentially to give our zoning officer more authority in the clothing bins distribution and inspection. Do we have a motion to open to public session?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved in, seconded. Seeing no one wishing to discuss it, all in favor of opening for public discussion?
Aye.
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 That's not a majority.
Aye.
Favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Little apathy here. Motion passes. The meeting is open for public discussion.
Seeing Mayor, no one coming forward from the public, I motion to close the public portion of this
Seconded.
hearing.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion. All in favor of closing public discussion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public discussion is closed. For the audience, sometimes we have to go through this, but literally there is a staff member and the representative from the Franklin Reporter out there. That's why council opens and closes these so quickly. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved in, seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Mayor, I just have a question
Yes, sir.
about the ordinance.
Yes, sir.
I don't have it in front of me, but how much time is the facilities that accommodate these bins have to come into is it a registration compliance or
Off
inspection?
the top of my head.
Oh, I know, I'm sorry, I actually should have,
This is just the ordinance
the
amendment
attorney.
solely covers the enforcement of this ordinance by our zoning official, where that didn't exist before. That's the sole purpose of this amendment.
so all the
Ordinance.
registration,
All
that
of that
ordinance
is,
stays the
nothing's
same.
changed.
Thank you for that clarity.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Ordinance 4137-16, ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, and State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 325, Special Events. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order.
Motion.
This is a ordinance to change some of the requirements to get a special events permit, really making them easier to get, in particular, reducing the time required prior to the event from 90 days to 60 days. So do we have a motion to open for public discussion?
So moved.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved in, seconded. Seeing no discussion on opening to public session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed. We are open for public discussion.
Seeing nobody coming forward, Mayor, I motion to close the public portion of the hearing of this ordinance.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion. All in favor of closing
Aye.
public
Aye.
discussion?
Aye.
Now, you're beating me to the punch. All opposed? Motion is passed. Public hearing is closed on this item. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Deputy Mayor Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
The the ordinance passes. Ordinance number 4138-16, an ordinance amending Chapter 230, Massage, Bodywork, and Somatic Therapy of Municipal Code of the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, New Jersey, in its entirety. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. Do we have a motion to open for public hearing?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion. All in favor of opening for public discussion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed. Public discussion is open on this item.
Mr. Mayor, I believe we need to have deep discussion about this ordinance
No,
amendment.
this is for public discussion.
I was going to ask the mayor about this one. I was waiting for this.
Excuse me, order. This is public discussion. We can discuss the motion later. So we are open for public discussion.
Seeing nobody come forward, Mayor, I motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Seconded.
God bless you, Councilman Vasanella. Seeing no discussion on closing the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed, or that we are closing through public discussion. Now, do we have a motion to
I move
adopt?
to adopt the ordinance.
Wait a minute.
Wait, no, moved and
Wait,
seconded.
I didn't get the second. I'm sorry, I missed it.
Seconded.
Thank you.
Moved,
1/5 and 6.
moved and seconded. Is there discussion on the ordinance?
Mr. Mayor, could you explain
Yes,
that?
Councilman White.
Could you break that down for us? I'm kind of cloudy on that issue.
I'd be more than happy to. This is an ordinance about massage parlors in town, therapeutic massage, and this is an ordinance to increase the fees for getting, for them to be permitted, to be more in line with the costs associated with inspections. Does that answer your question?
Well, I figured it'd be a little more to it, but yeah, I'll take that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or attempts to embarrass your mayor?
Ben, did you have any?
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk.
I'm ready. Deputy Mayor Chase,
Yes?
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
I think we are on to the last ordinance. Am I skipping one?
Yes.
There's one more.
Last one, yes. Yes, so we are now on to by the way, that ordinance did pass. We are now on to ordinance 4139-16, an ordinance of the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, State of New Jersey, accepting a sewer force main easement to the Township of Franklin from PVP Franklin LLC for the purpose of constructing a sanitary sewer force main for 495 Weston Canal Road, also known as Block 516.01, Lot 7.01, on the tax maps of Franklin Township, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. The township attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. Do I have a motion to open for public hearing?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion on opening for public hearing. All in favor of opening for public hearing?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed. We are now open for public hearing on the above-named ordinance.
Seeing no one come forward, Mayor, I motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on closing, seeing none. All in favor of closing public hearing?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes to close public hearing. Now motion on the ordinance.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the ordinance? Councilman Wright, perhaps you want to? No. Thank you.
I'm sorry?
I just wanted to know if you wanted clarification on this ordinance.
Well, if they want to do it for us, I mean, we'd be more than
No,
happy to hear.
this would be this is a fairly technical ordinance that I would punt to the manager, but seeing that no one is that interested, do we have a motion? I'm sorry, we do have a motion, no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes, ordinance passes. Ordinance on introduction for first reading, we have none. We are now on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
before we go to this consent agenda, if you could pull out,
Well, first
Okay.
when we get to discussion, we shall
okay,
pull away. Consent agenda items A through V as listed in the consent agenda portion of this meeting are presented to the Township Council. Council will take caution. Today, item V was added. You may not have noticed that. I'll give you a moment, but if we can move, do we have a motion for those items?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Now, Councilman Wright,
okay.
discussion.
Could we pull out L?
We could pull out L. Do you want to pull it out, or you want to just discuss it?
Just to let everyone know that the sound system for the park has been awarded to Koski TV and radio sales, and that we soon will have a public address system at Middlebush Park. That's all.
Okay, anyone else?
You don't want a separate water.
I'm sorry?
You don't want.
No, he can just roll with it. Yeah, I just wanted to make mention of that.
Deputy Mayor Chase.
I just want to add that this firm is not just a radio TV sales
Yeah.
business. They have done public address systems for major venues in the state, in particular High Point Stadium of Rutgers University.
Definitely
So
Rutgers
They really know what
University.
they're doing.
Rutgers University, part of the Meadowlands, and a lot of fields out here, so I forgot to mention that, Dr. Chase. Your home turf. Forgot to mention that.
Anyone else like to pull out or mention any particular consent agenda items, resolutions? I will mention E and F. They are stipulations for settlement on tax appeals. E being for $0 and F being for, I believe, $3,400, so not large tax appeal amounts that we are paying. Seeing no one else wishing to discuss the resolution, Madam Clerk.
Deputy Mayor Chase,
Yes,
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Resolutions to be voted on separately, there are none. Old business committees and commission vacancies. Does anyone have a nomination?
Mayor,
Deputy Mayor.
Councilman Chase has his hand up. Yes, sir. Deputy Mayor Chase.
at our last meeting, we passed an ordinance creating the position of alternate for the Agricultural Advisory Committee, and I would like to nominate Craig Feibel of Old Georgetown Road, who was previously a member of the Ag Committee, and this year we put on Mr. Al Pachalik, proprietor of a farm stand. But I had been told that sometimes they had trouble getting a quorum, so it was a good idea to have an alternate, and we can add back Mr. Feibel.
Seconded.
No need for a second on nominations. Are there any other nominations for this position? Hearing no other nominations for this position, is that a roll call? No? By voice vote? By voice vote? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Any other
Yeah,
nominations?
Mayor?
for Committees?
Mayor,
Councilman Vasanella.
I'd like to nominate Deputy Mayor Chase to be the liaison, because part of what we did recently was also make a liaison position, which I am very happy came back around. It was brought up years ago, and I'd love to see Deputy Mayor Chase serve in that
Seconded.
capacity.
Again, Mr. Prasad, there are no seconds needed for nominations, so I take that nomination. Does anyone else wish to nominate someone? Hearing no other nominations, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Deputy Mayor Chase. I will note to everyone, and perhaps we don't want to act on it immediately because it has just shown up in our folders, but there is a Citizens Leadership Forum application filled out for some various committees, and we may want to look at that and consider it in the future. Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will, item 8, what?
Just one thing,
Right.
Ms. Francois forgot to bring this up. This is our 16th annual breast cancer awareness project, and Ms. Francois is up for the Pearl Grace Award, which is the highest honor, and it's Saturday, April the 16th. She wanted to say something about it. Otherwise,
No, I think people need to buy tickets and support the event. It's a fundraiser. They need money. It's a good, very good cause.
Where
It's
is it?
breast cancer awareness and prevention.
Where is it? When is it?
At the Doubletree Hotel.
it's from 8 a.m. to 11:30. The screenings actually start at 7:30. So for women, if you
And it's free screening,
free
whether
screening,
you
so
buy a ticket or not.
I would advise you to come down and use the facilities for that breast cancer awareness. And that's it, Mr. Mayor. I'm done.
Thank you for our second session of council discussion items. There are no executive session, there'll be no executive session this meeting. Last item is adjournment. Do I have a
Motion to adjourn.
motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
We'll stay here all night. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is passed. We are adjourned. Be well, Franklin.